promoting his new artists, but also talking about how he's felt over time with the artists that he's managed and their decision to leave his record label after a while. He's talking about how much he's invested in their craft, etc. And these artists have been talking as well about why they decided to move from his record label. Mr. Drew said he needed growth, and that's why he decided to move on. Last Minute, on the other hand, also needed some level of growth as well. But what really is the relationship between artists and their record labels and the people who manage these record labels that leaves them wanting more after a certain time period? And that's not all. Beyond just artist managers, there's also that relationship, the bittersweet relationship between artists, their management, and event promoters. Black Sherif is on the radar at the moment, and yesterday the manager for Cruise People was talking about the contract that they signed and how they expected Black Sherif to do his part, but unfortunately could not do that. We're hearing from sources within Black's camp that the story is a bit different from what we're hearing as well. What really is the truth? But moving forward, how do we ensure that everybody gets to win in this world of music and business? Joining us this morning in the studios, I have Robert Kla, and he's not new to this scene. Of course, he's the head of communications and publications at Charterhouse. When it comes to VGMA, he's one of the people who's always talking about the events. It's good to have you in the studios.
Thank you for having me.
Everything okay?
Everything.
I haven't seen you since VGMA. Why?
I haven't seen you since Paris.
Okay, on that note, let's move on and introduce our second guest in the studio. I mean, if you hear some songs that he's produced, then you'd understand why we had to get him in the studios. He's worked the likes of Kaki, Samini, Stonebwoy, etc. Jam Master J, that's always the tagline that you hear at the beginning or end of a song. He joins us this morning. He's Joshua Raphaelson, JR Music. He's a music producer and also an executive producer. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Bella.
Interesting that we've been talking about the industry and you in particular, but I don't think I've met you before. Have we met?
I always meet you minus the camera.
Really?
And I've loved that way.
Oh, I see. Probably why I didn't know it was you then.
Good.
You've been hiding, but I finally grabbed you and you're in the studio today. It's really good to see you finally.
Thank you,
I hope you're well.
I'm well.
Well, also, we'll be joined on Zoom shortly by our other guests. But let's start off the conversation. Maybe I'll come to you because, again, like I mentioned, you've worked with some of the biggest artists in the country, from the likes of Samini, Stonebwoy, and Kaki. And a lot of these artists have moved on, doing their own thing now. But usually, before you start working with an artist, what goes into the conversations that you usually have in order to ensure that you are not cheated, the artist is not cheated, and everybody wins at the end of the day?
Okay. You see, professionally, it's supposed to, let's say, start on a contractual note where business conversations are had. But a lot of the times in our side of the region, relationship gets to start before the business comes in. I've seen artists and managers where, oh, we are friends, Charlie, help me. Okay, I'll do this. Then they start. And halfway, they start realizing, let's bring business into this. Now, there are dangers attached to that procedure, but the best thing to do is to, I'll give you an example. With me and Kaki, for instance, I never knew Kaki from nowhere. It was Charterhouse, John Dia, and Apefa, and some people who called me that there's this girl, and they gave me the whole history about her. I wasn't even watching. I'm not a TV person, but I mean, really.
She did Stars of the Future,
yes, she did Stars of the Future. So they brought me her performances, and then I watched it. I think Doreen Ando was a judge, and Doreen is a personal friend, and she was like, Jay, this girl. Okay. So first thing to do was to tell the rest of the crew that they've brought this girl, so what do you want to do? So I showed her material to the entire team, from my cousin in Dubai, Samini, the whole high grade camp. We sat down. And then we decided to put a business to it.
Okay.
And give her a contract. I remember telling her that she should go and get a lawyer to read and explain things to her. I made sure that I met the mother. I visited their home, sat down with them, yes, gave them time to get a family lawyer or even if they can't afford, I was going to make sure that I fixed that for them because we had seen a lot of stuff happen before.
Okay.
So basically, that's how you're supposed to start, but not to also push down. There's been instances where friendship, you know, there's verbal agreement also to some level of extent. So it just happens that our part of our world, a lot of the times, we don't take contract very seriously. I mean, but apart from that, we should be good.
It's because maybe the artists are also looking to break out so quickly
They're
that
so
they don't
hungry.
focus.
They're so hungry. The language that you find them using is, oh, help me, help me. We need help. And my cousin will always tell me, anytime somebody approaches you and he goes like, help me, take time with those people. Because basically, they are saying what they need. They need help. So in your mind, if you are seeing business, they are seeing help.
Yeah.
And to them, help means that when I get what I need, I can bounce when I want to.
And mostly that's what they do.
Exactly, mostly that's what they do. Artists are always naturally, there's an inborn thing. They always want more. They always want more. They're always craving for more. So it's very, outside, the systems are well structured that, I mean, some basic things are there that you wouldn't even think about doing it because you know the issues that will come out of that. But unfortunately, here there's a lot that has to be,
has to be done.
Education, and it's way too much.
I like that you brought Kaki up, and if you don't mind me borrowing into that issue a little bit, because I was one of the people who spoke to her at the time when she had decided to quit music, and she was very open about her experience. And this issue about contracts, one of the things she said was that she wished she had a lawyer at that time to really go through it and understand what the terms and conditions were. Because at the time when she said she was moving on from you, she did not have access or ownership to her own songs. She could not perform her songs anymore.
I like what she said.
Felt cheated.
Her own songs.
I don't think she said. She said.
Well, what I mean is,
Maybe that's her understanding.
Well, for the public,
I like that.
For the public,
Kuda,
what we thought
Sweetie,
was that those were her songs because we saw her performing.
You know the funny thing? This country, that's what I'm done with this business. It's stressful. See,
but you know you're not really done.
Let me ask you. If you live here today, do you own this concept?
No, I don't.
You came to meet it?
I came to meet this concept,
Good.
Yes.
Another person will come.
Of course.
Right? So what if Media General here, you say, and they took this concept from me. Wait a minute. They did? You actually brought the concept to the programs manager and he approved it, right? You can only take what you own. Okay. There has never been even one single song that wasn't composed and written on a paper for you to sing. So how do you own it?
You're talking about Kaki.
In today's world where intellectual property is a huge conversation, how do you say it is my song? The problem is that she don't know that we have a performing artist. We have different kinds of artists.
What was Kaki?
Kaki was a performer because people compose your songs for you. And then you come, learn the songs and record them. Just like Whitney, just name all these female top musicians. Majority of them don't compose, write their own songs. What they do well is that they are able to own the song and record it or perform it to
in a way that feels like it's
exactly.
them.
But when you go out saying that it is the contract, you can't perform your own song. You know, because I knew the kind of environment we were, that's why I shut up. I didn't want to grant interview because a lot of people don't know this. And then I'll be having to argue with people who don't know what they are talking about. And I'll stress myself. So I decided, let me just zip it, allow her to keep talking. But I knew that there were some learned people out there who will know. But then I realized that majority don't, especially the entertainment space. A lot of people don't know. So it was best for me to just keep, because I would have to be, I feel KO's frustration. I really, really do. And I've been there before. We've seen it happen over and over. In fact, let's not even let's leave Kaki. But if it's your song, you should be able to perform them.
You should be.
You should be.
Well, Robert, I'll come to you shortly, but we also have an intellectual property lawyer, an entertainment lawyer more like, and he understands this space pretty well. Maybe we should go to him. Kelvin Nana, he represents Bray and Cres solicitors in the UK. Good morning to you. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Bella. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, Dennis Teria is also part of the conversation. He's also on Zoom from Party in the Park. We'll come to you shortly, Dennis. But Kelvin, I mean, I'm sure you had a part of the conversation that I was having with, you know, my guest just a few minutes ago, Joshua Raphaelson. And I want to understand, as an artist, even before you sign a contract with your record label, etc., what are some of the things you should look out for so that in case you want to part ways with a record label, you don't come complaining to the public about lack of ownership, etc.?
I mean, that will obviously be dependent on the kind of agreement you sign. But typically, when you're signing to a record label, it's an assignment of your copyrights to that record label. So typically, the record label will be the owners of that copyright. And whether you get it back at some point, it's a matter of negotiation. It could be a license period of 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, or 20, depending on the agreement you have with them. But as the business stands, you will be assigning your copyrights, whether you've written the songs or not, whether you've performed them or not, whatever you have created on that master, and obviously its underlying composition will belong to the record label until such period of time that you agree that the masters revert to you. Sometimes in most agreements, especially in Africa, the masters never revert back to the artist. Again, that is a point of negotiation, but it is also standard practice in the US, in the UK. Depending on the leverage that artists have at the point of negotiation, they will make it very clear that, you know what, we're going to be making this music together. You are funding it. You're going to exploit it. You're going to pay me this amount of royalties for a period of time. And that period of time could either be forever, could be 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Typically, it's around between 10 to 25 years and or perpetuity. So to advise on that, first, we have to go back to the contract.
Okay.
We agree.
You have to go back to the contract. But that's the thing, with a lot of new artists, I don't think they pay attention to all these things because they're looking at the fame and the fortune that they're going to garner in the first couple of years that they're working with the record label. So that clearly is a mistake that a lot of them make, right?
Oh yeah, I understand. Yeah, that is. I mean, it goes on to date, and even I'm sure it's going to continue going on even after you've told people to do certain things or not do certain things. At the point they enter into the negotiation, you can imagine it's all about excitement. This is something they've been dreaming about their whole lives. This is someone there that's going to invest in that. The details do not matter as much at that point. You know, these people. But rightly so, yeah, they should have checked it. And obviously, as the courts say, they're not there to do business for you. You know what I mean? You do business before you started the business. So as much as I am very sympathetic towards the plight of some of these artists as well, we also need to consider that the amount of investment and the amount of work that goes into a record being successful. I'll tell you for a fact that about 30% of it is what the artist does. The rest is what everyone else around it does, including the record, the marketing team, the radio pluggers, the playlist pitchers. You know, there's so much more that goes into it that I think is sometimes I find that we are very quick to take the artist side because they're the people we see. They're the stars. They're the ones who are very vocal, who have a fan base that they can speak to, rather than look at the business side of it, which is someone else just like you and me having invested their earned money into you becoming you. After that, after the masters, you still own your brand anyway. You know, someone that's invested, you're now a big artist, your brand is good. You can go on and create new masters for yourself or with another label, or you can go on and depending on the agreements you have, if you have ancillary rights or not, you can go on and perform and make money that way, or go into another career based on the fact that someone has invested in your brand previously.
What happens then if there's no formal contract between the two parties? In the case of Keiwa, because he says that there was really no written contract between himself and, you know, Lastminute, because Lastminute took part in a competition, then some money was given to Kaywa to help Lasmid out, and that's the kind of relationship they had. Now, Lasmid has decided to move on, and that also has become a bone of contention.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big issue where there is no, obviously, written agreement. Wherever there is transfer of rights, then be a written agreement. You know what I mean? And in that case, that's bad business on the side of the label, because they should have known better.
Okay.
However, having said this, verbal agreements are just as binding. So it becomes he say, she say. The judge decides who thinks at that point is more likely, what he thinks is more likely to be the case. But I mean, by the nature of going into a record label artist relationship, we all know that you're transferring rights. You know what I mean? Maybe how long you're transferring those rights for, we do not know. And that's something that when there is no verbal contract, obviously, the judge tries to see what's fair for the two. And usually they come within standard practice, what's actually happening in the current market to determine what should be done. But yeah, it will be at the discretion of whichever judge this goes before.
All right, Robert, before we even go into event promotion and how that also comes to play, let's talk a bit about this KY issue, and of course the issue about Kaki, even though I know Jamaster J doesn't really want to go into that. But I mean, to the point where an artist is told that you cannot perform any of your songs anywhere once you leave this record label, that then becomes a problem, because what happens to the song? Does it die out completely?
The question is, who owns the song? So if the song is for the record label, then the record label will know what to do with the song, because you can still promote the song irrespective of whether an artist is performing it or not. Music has got three key areas when it comes to revenue generation. We have the live music component, which deals with the tours. Then we have the publishing aspect, and then we have the recording aspect. The recording aspect deals with the masters. And so if you have it on all the streaming platforms and everything, the money is going to come to the record label. Then we have the publishing. So the publishing deals with the authors and composers. So the authors and composers, they will get mechanical royalties from whether the song is streamed, whether the song is played on this particular station or any of the TV stations, and then whether it's played on radio stations as well. So all of these monies will come through. And when the monies come through, whoever composed the song, whoever wrote the song, in terms of like actual lyrics writing, whoever is responsible for the melody, the creation of the beat, all of the people who composed that particular, they will get their money's worth. So all of these guys are supposed to be taken care of. So the live performance is where you, the artist, bring the music to life on stage. And so therefore, in that particular case, you're actually putting up a performance and then you get your rewards for it. So what they are taking away from you is the fact that you are not able to perform. But then the question here is, if it was agreed in the contract and you put a pen to it, then it means that you willingly appended your pen to the fact that you don't want to perform it if it should be taken away from you. And that's what the lawyer was just explaining, that in terms of whatever you're going to append your signature to, you need to be able to be aware of it. And exactly what he said, that he will ask you to talk to a lawyer. But I think that for most of them, when you are starting, the biggest challenge is getting even a lawyer to explain stuff for you.
Yeah.
I don't know, within our space, we don't have a lot of entertainment lawyers. And that is a big, huge deficit within our system. But again, people do not understand, and people have difficulty in accessing the lawyers who can explain things to them, for them to be like, you can know what is in there, but you don't understand what is in there. You know, so that's for me one of the biggest challenges that we have in our system. We need to be able to deal with.
Do you think the record labels also, because of this knowledge, take advantage of the artists to some extent with the contracts that they make them sign? Because then they embed all these clauses in there that they may understand the extent to which it can limit an artist, the artist may not know that.
You have a point. What I can say is could. But then again, if you also look at the Ghanaian situation when it comes to record label and what they do, the risk is very high. Like the risk involved in taking care of an artist in this country, knowing that the person will walk away anytime, and there are things in the contract. The person is like, it's there, they've seen it, but they are still choosing to walk away from it and breach the terms of the contracts, and then you don't have money to, or you don't have the time to go and sit in our courts, or you don't have the money to go and bring in a lawyer to say, okay, let me go. Like, you're going to sue who? The person who have money already. But the person is breaching the contract. So what would you do? The risk level is very high. So anything that the risk is high, you're looking at how you can get back your money. So if you're looking at how you can get back your money, that is why you put in all of these elements. So I think the baseline is always the negotiation that has to happen between the two parties to ensure that you have everybody's happy, like win-win. That's what really counts. But again, I see a lot of deficits in this space because for the longest time, we don't have people talking about contracts or sample of contracts or situations like this to be able to learn from. There are new people who are entering into record deals right now, and they haven't seen like 5 contracts to understand the differences and what the positives and the negatives are, so that they are informed on what to do and what not to do. So again, that is a problem. We don't have a music business school in this country. And for me, that's one of the biggest problems we have. If you go to the health sector, you go to school, how many years, you come out, architecture, whatever, name them, all of them.
Yeah.
But our space, the business aspect of the music that we are doing, we don't have, you know, an authority in that particular space impacting knowledge or teaching people. And that's one of the biggest challenges that we have. And we don't have people within academia, like, you know, the lawyers. How many of them are in our space? How many of the marketers from the business schools are in our space? How many? We need the professionals to come into the space and then work. That once we have that, I think that a lot of things will fall in place.
I see you kept nodding.
There's something I never told the public.
Which is?
Whenever I hear they say, and the label didn't allow me to perform my songs, I want to bury myself in the ground.
Why?
Do you know how I got to know that Kaki don't want to work with us again?
How?
It was on Instagram. She wrote her terminating on Instagram.
She didn't have a conversation with you.
Let me break your heart. She put that on the internet, and then Elombini found that, screenshot it and sent to me. She never even had a conversation like, yo, I want to leave. So what do we do? I've seen Richie and what's her name, Miss V partners. Miss V was performing her song because there was a conversation. Okay, it's fine. If you want to move. We could allow you to perform the song. Maybe X amount of money from those songs for, let's say, a year or two will come. Once again, as I said, and everything, I just didn't want to.
So is that why?
She actually left on Instagram. Was that where you got signed? Then nobody even knew.
Were you having issues before then?
You see, when an artist wants to leave, whether issue or no issue or whatever it is, but if you actually had a conversation with her, did she tell you that we cheated her, we were taking her money, we were doing anything awful? It was always about, we wanted to leave and then I can't perform my songs. So everybody's focus was on that. And nobody even asked, so what happened? Did they tell you that you can't perform your song? Where did you hear that from? Was that in your contract? And then, like Dennis was saying, everybody have love. The love always goes to the artist. But as we speak, nobody cares about the investor. And we are here screaming, oh, our artists are not doing well. They are not getting invested. Whose money should we use to do so? And then the public always falls in love with the artist. And
you think that's why a lot of investors are shying away from
Why would I put my money into something that, when you were talking to her, I'm sure you were emotionally attached to the staff. She was telling you.
It's been a long time, honestly. I don't remember half of the conversation.
No wonder you could remember and ask me. But if you were well inclined, you probably would ask more detailed questions.
I probably did. This was how many years ago?
Exactly.
10 years ago or 5 years or something.
But the narrations outside is that the label said he should not perform his song. Can you believe that you want to part way with the label that took you from nowhere to that stage, and then you could not even have a conversation with them? Where did we ever say that she can't perform her songs?
And she could not. She didn't own her songs. Any of that. That was in the contract.
You know the funny thing. One of the smartest things to do as an artist is to quickly come on air, and then put your narratives out there. And then because love is always for you, everybody tends to believe what you say. Have you realized that for the past 20 years we don't have tangible record labels in our country? Have you realized that? But every now and then we hear this kind of stories about artists and labels, and you realize that all these small, let me say, pocket labels are not growing.
Yeah, investor confidence.
They are not growing. Always, like you were earlier before the camera, I told you what I was into now. There are a lot of my types out there. And then how do we get the industry growing? When we have people go and take loan, invest into an artist, they're unable to recoup, it becomes debt for them to go and pay. The artist walk on, everybody's like, oh, the artist is blah, 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 blah. And then tomorrow, your cousin also wants to sing. Nobody is really interested in putting their money on it. We were here I can tell you for a fact. I remember when, what's the name? Wizkid them were at Mo when Banky came introducing them to us in the media. Since then, look at the level they have gone to.
Yeah.
They've had issues like we have, but they've been able to. Ours have always been one-sided. Always one-sided.
Dennis Tawia is the brain behind Party in the Park in the UK. And on Monday, he joined us for a conversation where he also cried foul about how artists behave when it comes to promoting concerts or shows that they've been signed on for. Dennis, it's as if you could predict that something was going to happen at the end of the week. I mean, there's also this issue about Black Sherif and, you know, the alleged decision by his team to not promote the events that he was supposed to perform at. I mean, we're talking about artists and their managers and record labels, but it goes beyond that. It transcends just management and also to events promoters as well. How are you feeling about all this revelation that's been put out in the last couple of days?
Bella, as she said in our previous discussion on Monday, this is nothing new to me, dealing with artists. I'll be honest with you, all my colleagues this morning have said exactly what I would say, and it's just too one-sided. It does not make sense whereby people are investing into you, okay, and then you just sit back and don't do anything, or you just sit back and say, oh, I'm not going to promote. It just doesn't make sense to me. You know, the investment we put in per event, as I speak to you, Ghana Party in the Park, you just mentioned, that's one of many events, has been constant. Look at the amount of investment that goes into a festival. Okay? It's been constant. Now we've got to reset all over again. Look at the amount of money we're going to put into investing back into this again. And the artist will tell you, well, you know, I don't want to come. If you want to bring me back, do this, do that. It's like, I mean, look, it's business. I'm not expecting them to have emotional feelings for certain things. But sometimes, you know, you got to also think of what we are also giving back to you in terms of you as an artist. It's an international platform for you. Take full advantage of it. You know, why can't some of them look beyond just being, I just want to be popular for one day? And let's be honest with ourselves, we all again, I don't know if we discussed it. How many of our artists are there, as we speak, have only one hit? You can't even invest in an artist that's just got one hit. Especially we in the diaspora. Are you going to invite an artist to come over just to perform the same song for how many minutes? The artists are not thinking about all of that. We take 80, maybe more. 90% of our artists in Ghana have only got one hit. That's another bigger problem we've got. If nothing is being said today that I've not mentioned in the past, or I didn't even mention it on Monday when we spoke. The problem we have is that artists should look at the bigger picture. Yes, they are the superstars. They are the people that have the fun, the 1 million followers on Instagram and YouTube or whatever it may be. You know, you could take to Instagram and say and let people know you're not coming or you're not performing at a show. However, you can't even take to the same platform to say, look, I'm coming. You know, come and support me, come and see me. It doesn't make sense. You know, I know some artists do it. Not all the artists, but some artists they do it. Some artists will call you and ask you, look, where's my creatives? Where's my endorsement video? Send it over to me. But the percentage of artists that do not do it, just want to sit back and just interested in hand to mouth, there's too many. Way too many.
But Dennis,
just do the stats and you see.
There's also a concern by these artists that most of the time event promoters do not treat them well, especially the Ghanaian event promoters. And so they assume that, okay, I'm Ghanaian, I'm doing a business, you should support me as well. And so sometimes even the hotels they book for them, the flights that they get for them, it's very cumbersome. And you expect that these artists will go all out to perform at your event, and yet you're not willing to do your part of the bargain. What do you say to that?
I don't agree to that. I don't agree to that. You know what it is? There's no better person to promote you than your own. Okay? There's no better person to promote you than your own. First of all, we have a different budget to all of the other big companies out there. We have a community that we serve that don't pay maybe the same amount of money as some of our competitors will do. Okay? So,
we're having a
we
challenge.
work within our budget.
Okay.
What's the point?
Okay. Dennis, maybe you'll have to hold on. We need to reconnect with you on Zoom because your network is not too great. Let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll continue the conversation. Please don't go anywhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint as compared to other paint brands on the market. We take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
Feel adrift as you transition into a new stage of your life. The future seems like a blank space until you discover the passion within. The canvas of the future is yours to paint. Welcome to a world of opportunities. Heritage Christian College, offering world-class university education, training compassionate entrepreneurial leaders.
Comfort, durability, finishing, quality. Choosing sofas and beds for your home, office or hotel couldn't be easier with an exclusive range of sofas and beds in various designs and colors from Latex Foam. There is so much choice whatever your budget. Latex Foam, your partner for life.
Franco Trading Enterprise is your leading mobile phone, accessories, and your electronic retail outlet. You can buy any item online at the comfort of your home from Franco Trading Enterprise. Just download the Franco Trading app on Google Play Store or App Store, or visit our website at www.francotrading.com. You can buy all brands of mobile phones, television, air conditioning, home theaters, and any other accessories. For online purchasing and more inquiries, just call us on 0501 502 670. Franco Trading Enterprise. We are still the home of quality mobile phones and accessories.
Am I not forgetting something?
Yes, obviously. Flora Mini.
Thank you. Can I use the washroom, please?
Sure. Flora disposable handkerchief.
You obviously aren't using Flora tissues, my dear, because the Flora tissues, they are soft and easy on the skin and they leave no particles. Are you okay? Do you want to use the washroom?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, broke uncle. I will tell auntie.
Fatchemi, I just love how it feels.
JPS Communications, in partnership with Sunny FM and Sunny TV, with support from Superfarm Network, presents Comic and Comedy.
If you want to know the number of years a man is married, ask about his wife. The way you will respond determines the number of years. If it's 1 year, 2 years, you ask him, big man, how is your wife? Excuse me, you mean my lovely-dovey baby, lovely-dovey wife? After 5 years, how is your wife? She's good. 10 years, how is your wife?
Performing on this big stage are Obian Ponsa, Clemento Suarez, General Tatia, Jacinta, Foster Romanus, Lexi the Comic, Efia Barcelona, Putogo, introducing Ya Enima with Honorable Mikio Beko and Honorable Fritz Bafo as guest of honor. Venue, National Theatre. Date, Saturday the 22nd of July and Sunday the 23rd of July. Time, 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. each day. Rate is 150 Ghana cedis for standard and 250 Ghana cedis for VIP. Dial *713*003# to purchase your tickets on all networks networks or call 0552 300075. Sponsored by Ebony Condoms, Secure, Blue Band, and Series. Media partners.
Under the distinguished patronage of His Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Ghana National College celebrates its 75th Speech and Prize Giving Day under the theme 75 Years of Holistic Education, Nurturing Leaders for the 21st Century. Date, July 22nd, 2023. Time, 8 a.m. Venue, Ghana National College, Cape Coast. The celebration will be climaxed with other landmark events as follows. July 16th, Regional Church Service. July 19th, Inter-House Debate. July 20th, Nananum Inspire followed by a sit-down. July 21st, Football Gala, AGM, Flag-raising ceremony and more. July 22nd, Speech and Prize Giving Day, Fundraising Dinner Dance. July 23rd, Thanksgiving Service, swearing in new executives, Omuto Fufu Gathering, Pool Party. Nananum Enyansafo. Ghana.
You're welcome back, and this is still TV3 New Day. It's the entertainment conversation, and it's brought to you by 3 Entertainment. In the studios, I have Joshua Raphaelson, of course, JR Music, and he's a music producer and executive producer. And for those of you who do not know or do not remember, he was the man behind Kaki's success. And not just Kaki, the likes of Samini, he worked with Stonebwoy and the like. And also, Robert Clark is the head of public events and communications at Charterhouse. Unfortunately, we've lost our guest on Zoom. We'll see if we can reconnect with them so they can still continue the conversation. But let's zoom in now to Black Sherif and what is happening with his camp. Of course, the event organizer has been speaking, and there's a lot that he's been saying about trying to get Black Sherif and his team to record a 10 seconds video, literally is what the man said, just to promote the cruise event. That didn't happen, and that's why they were forced to speak to the police CID, and he was invited to the police. In fact, the event organizer says that's why he was arrested. He was not invited to the police station. But if you hear from sources within Black Sherif's camp, they also have a different narrative as to exactly what happened and what led to this, and the fact that they were not even aware that they were being waited upon at the airport to be invited. And they're not too happy about the conversation that's ongoing on social media. But let me come to you, JR. First of all, when you heard about the issue, what were you thinking?
Let me try and be very blatant here. If the information I have is right, so quote unquote, I'm not speaking on, I think they book Black through a booking agent.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So, per that, for me, what was the conversation between them and the booking agent? And then from the booking agent to Black's camp. You know, there's a lot that goes on when you're booking an artist. The agency comes in because, let's say, we want to bring Jay-Z to Ghana right now. We may not have direct access to Jay-Z's camp, but there are booking agents that are constantly with them.
Yeah.
So you channel your conversation through to them. Now, so let's say I tell the agency that I want Jay-Z to do X, Y, Z for me. But in that contract, did I spell out all the details? It is supposed that even if it's not spelled out, there are some basic things that is needed for you to do. That's standard practice.
Okay.
Now, some of them is the flyers for your event, the dates, the venue, and all of that. Yes, you know, like Dennis said, nobody will promote you better than you yourself.
Yeah.
So that's also an opportunity for you to see as a marketing tool to promote yourself. But then again, like I said, what transpired between the cruise company and then the booking agent and then Black Sherif's camp? Should it have been that, oh, Black is just showing up, he's supposed to post the flyer and maybe do X, Y, Z, that's it. But maybe between the cruise and the agency, they probably were expecting more.
Yeah.
The agency did not also relay that information to Black Sherif's camp. I'm just saying this to say maybe, but then let's put that aside. As an artist manager, anybody who engages me, once I buy into the concept of the event. I like what they are doing, and I feel my artist brand sits well with what they are doing. It's an opportunity for me to also market myself, regardless of them. You understand me? The only time you see me not allowing my social media team take over the artist page to push the event is when we haven't finished signing the contract. Like payment haven't gone through, real questions haven't been sealed yet. I won't engage our social media line, because then I'll be telling the fans that I'll be here, and then later find out that we won't be here, then I'm going back. So then, but once we sign and then part payment has been made, I understand fully that one, I'm supposed to fly the flyers, the dates, I'm supposed to promote this event. In fact, some of the contract will tell you you're supposed to do some TV, radio, interviews. They'll slate all of that for you. Was that done? If it was not done, that's a different conversation altogether.
Okay. Now, when you listen to the man in charge of Cruise People, he granted an interview where he says that there was an agreement between the booking agency and themselves. And the agent that they worked with was one Mimi Edu. And on the 19th of May was when they wanted to launch, you know, the event itself proper, so that people would sign on. And the agreement was that Black Sherif would send a video through that day, so they can premiere it at the launch. That didn't happen, even though the contract was signed on the 28th of April. Now, the video was expected between the week of the 10th of May. That didn't happen. On the 19th of May, when they were launching, at the last minute, allegedly, Black Sherif and his team called the man on video. And this is the man giving his account of events. Called him on video and said, we have a quick interview or a performance or so, and so we're going to do that. And then right after that, we'll try and get back to you. That didn't happen till the 22nd of May, when they sent a breach of agreement letter to Black Sherif's team and to the booking agent. They didn't hear from them until just 5 days ago, where the team now came almost 5 days ago, and the agent now says, well, we want to refund your money to you. So this is the man's account of events that led to the decision to involve the police, to invite them to the police station.
So is the agent who said they want to refund?
As per what the man himself was saying, that the agents got in touch and said, now we want to refund the money.
To refund? Because the agent didn't do his job very well.
Is that really the case, or?
Yes, I'll be honest. Because I feel like the agent was not in control of the situation. You understand me? The agent was not in control of the situation in terms of dealing with Black Host team. Because ideally, the two were not supposed to even have that phone conversation if you, the booking agent, was doing your job properly. That's what I feel.
Robert, what do you make of this? Because you are also, of course, you work with an events company, and dealing with artists is a regular thing for you. What would you have done in a situation like this? How do you manage this kind of crisis?
Okay, so managing the crisis is a different matter. Understanding the situation at hand is also a different matter. Sometimes you're able... Okay, so the thing is, who is the conduit to the artist, and whether or not they have enough control, like JMJ mentioned, in terms of the situation at hand, whether you are able to really relay whatever you've agreed with whoever is trying to book the artist. Because if you are the middleman, then you shouldn't promise anything that you will not be able to deliver. So that's the first thing. Now, to ensure that you are able to deliver whatever you promise, it means that whatever convo is had with respect to the content of a contract, you must have had the same thing with the party of the artist to ensure that everybody is aligned and all the deliverables expected, you guys are like ready and willing to be able to get it done.
Yeah.
Okay. Then when you do that, at the end of the day, then, you know, because they are your backing and that makes you stronger. Because if you don't have that kind of backing, there's absolutely nothing you can do. So I don't know so what it means is that obviously the booking agent is having challenges with the camp of the artist. And that's the reason why the deliverable couldn't come through. There's a problem. I'm not too sure what the terms of the problem is. Maybe the booking agent took X amount of money. I don't know how much they're being paid. Maybe they haven't agreed, they haven't finalized on that. I don't know. It could be anything. It could be the timing is not working. It could be that maybe the camp of Black Sherif have also booked another project on that same day, and they consider that one as a bigger platform for exposure or something they can't go against. I don't know. But whatever it is, that kind of sync has to be there. Otherwise, it becomes a bit difficult for the artist and whoever is on their part to be able to honor it. So the question here again is, was he arrested or he was invited? Was he arrested or he was invited?
He was invited to the police station as per sources from his camp.
Yeah, so if
but Cruz People is also saying that he was arrested. So, I mean, it was an arrest. Well, Roland says that was an arrest.
Okay. I mean, just that words have got different meanings when it hits the media platform.
So you want to be careful.
You have to be careful because, again, reputations, you have to manage people's reputation and stuff like that. So I think for me, until we understand things from both sides, it becomes a bit difficult for us to say somebody did right or somebody did wrong. But what we can clearly say is that there's a break somewhere. Something is not right. It's not sitting well, and we need to fix it. However, I think that for an organizer, one of the key things they need to be able to put out there once they contract you is for you to give them that support in terms of publicity. And they need that as early as possible, whether from endorsement videos or whether from, pictures that you are supposed to put, anything of that sort, so that they can use that to market the stuff. And the two of you are supposed to be working together to achieve a particular goal. So promotion is key.
Promotion is key.
Promotion
Roland
is
here.